The police operation that resulted in the fatal shooting of a mentally ill man was an utter failure. That's the finding at the coronial inquest into the death of Sydney man Adam Salter. The 36-year-old was shot in the back by a police officer as he stabbed himself repeatedly with a kitchen knife. The Salter family says it's disturbing that it's taken 2 years for their son's death to be properly investigated. Here's ABC reporter Carl Herr.
This is the video interview labelled a failure and a disgrace by a coroner. Sergeant Cherie Bissett is questioned about the day in November 2009 that she fatally shot Adam Salter, who was armed with a knife.
So I've just drawn my gun, gone taser, 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 and at that stage he's turned like that, and so I shot him here.
She says she thought her colleague, probationary constable Aaron Abella, was going to be stabbed and killed.
I couldn't pull him back. I was just doing all I could. He's made it, obviously, with 2 steps towards that sink area.
Paramedics were also in the kitchen treating Adam Salter for earlier self-inflicted stab wounds when he leapt up without warning. The coroner says there's compelling evidence that Constable Abella was never in close physical contact with Adam Salter, let alone in any significant danger from him. Ambulance officers said once Adam Salter got hold of the knife, it was only directed at himself. A report prepared by police for the coroner on the day of the shooting said Adam Salter had been challenged several times to drop the weapon and he lunged the knife at police. But his father, Adrian Salter, who was also in the kitchen, says this was a totally false version of events.
What I am disturbed about is that the police did not correct it immediately.
The coroner is also critical of interviewing officer Detective Inspector Russell Oxford for trying to explain Sergeant Bissett's taser warning.
You're trying to give some warning to police officers here that you're about to take some action.
A police review was glowing of the investigation and even suggested the 4 officers involved receive formal recognition. The coroner has described this recommendation as ridiculous.
It's tragic. You know, my son was a genius. Like, he had so much potential.
Adam Salter was suffering a mental illness. Sergeant Bissett has not been referred for any possible criminal charges. Carl Herr, ABC News.
Well, Carl Herr joins us now with more on that case. Carl, the coroner was highly critical of the police response and the investigation that followed. So why didn't he refer it to the Police Integrity Commission?
Well, Deputy State Coroner Scott Mitchell says he's not making an assessment of whether these are matters that should be taken up by the PIC, but that such a referral should only really happen when there's no other option. Now, so essentially he's leaving it up to the family, the Salter family, to take up its concerns with the PIC, and that is something that the family is considering.
So why was the police investigation deemed so unsatisfactory?
Essentially because it virtually ignored the views of the ambulance officers and also the father of Adam Salter, Adrian Salter. Now, their evidence suggests that the risk to the other officer in the room, Aaron Abella, was much less than what was being made out by police. And putting aside all the mistakes that happened early in the investigation, the critical incident report, the critical incident investigation, which was only signed off in May this year, said that the evidence of everyone in the room was consistent. We now know, of course, that there were many inconsistencies.
Carl Herr, thanks very much.